Yeah, in the gullies there were massive rosewood logs.
Yeah, and they often pushed them in to build the roads.
Yeah, but right on the fence there was a nature strip on the border fence, and we come across some big rosewoods there, and they were massive, you know, above ground root systems that you could walk for 20-30 metres without touching the ground, just walk on the roots.
Yes.
And a photo of my son there with his arms spread across one.
Amazing.
Yeah, and there's a lot of tree each side of his arms reach.
Yeah.
And anyway, it had vines in it.
Uh-huh.
And I cut one of the vines and I said, "What's this, Tim?" And I got up the vine and I swung out Queensland. New South Wales. Back into Queensland.
Well, they're still cutting them up there.
Over the fence.
And it was only this year that a wholesalers closed shops on the other side of the border.
Yeah.
Right, down near Killarney. There has been a wholesaler who supplies the Sydney, Melbourne woodworkers markets, right?
Really?
Illicitly.
Yeah.
Right? They're not supposed to be doing it, not since 1991. The Queensland government published a document in 1991 omitting the mention of rosewood in all of its timber research and publication.
Yeah?
Yeah, Queensland Forestry stopped in 91. So you're not supposed to be cutting them anymore, right? That was their way of trying to stop the amount of rosewood cutting. But one wholesaler kept going till this year.
Yep.
And now he doesn't supply, according to trend in Sydney, he doesn't supply them anymore.
Well, they did that with bottle trees a couple of years ago. You weren't allowed to dig them out and replant them anywhere.
Greater gliders ate them and vectored them, mostly.
How did that work?
You know, low hanging fruit, and a greater glider comes in low and comes up into a tree. That's how they move around, and they're hanging low fruit. So it just stands to reason that there was because I can't see any recruitment in the forest at Bulgana, for example. I can't see recruitment of young seedlings, rosewoods there.
You can't?
Not much.
Rosewood?
Not many.
Oh, we better go over there and I'll show you. They're everywhere. They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't
They're
see.
an absolute pest.
No? Well, I haven't seen it. I looked for young ones coming up, you know.
Yeah.
I was looking for seedlings of that size.
Okay.
There was nothing there this year.
See all this bush here? Well, actually all that over there as well is all regrowth.
Yeah.
It was all filled out except
that one. Is it on your driveway there?
Yeah, they're everywhere here. It's disoxyl and roofing just there.
Yeah, plenty of roofing.
Yeah.
Well,
on the driveway too.
But the maps, all the botanical text say it should be in Wyong, and it's not there.
Yeah.
No longer. They'll get them. The woodworkers are getting them real fast.
Really?
Especially on the border ranges.
Yeah. Oh, I guess in those remote gullies and such, there'd be specimens there growing, wouldn't there?
They're on Acacia Plateau still, but there's only a couple of hundred trees left on Acacia Plateau.
Really?
There used to be thousands of trees.
You go out the far the eastern end of Acacia, as you probably past Queen Mary Falls. There's stumps like that. They're stumps, but there is growth trees there still everywhere, shade trees.
Well,
in the rainforest there as well, there's big trees.
You know, the eastern end of Acacia Plateau leads to a lookout where there's the highest house in southeast Queensland, right? And overlooking there into Karela Gorge.
Yeah.
That was all full. All that basin was full of rosewood. You won't find one rosewood in there now.
Well, on the border fences, son.
Yeah, but not on that in that Karela Valley area where the gorge is.
Yeah. And there'll be a dozen, 20 rosewoods come up in the cluster.
Okay.
And you know, we don't want to tree at every fence post, so I've gone along and pulled them out. After a dry time like this, they can have tap roots.
Sure.
You can only pull them up often, you know, if they've gotten this high. Okay. You've got to wait for real wet weather and the ground soft to pull out the bunch. Because I go along fences, you know, often the fences has electric wire in it, so we don't want trees growing up there to short the fence out. So
we could rescue them.
Well, but the tap roots on most of them are too long.
You don't want to break them. Yeah, they will struggle once they're broken.
Yeah, they do. But so you need to start them as a seedling.
You could probably topiarise them
in a pot.
The broken ones could topiarise maybe, and make them into something useful.
Oh yeah, but they're just that common here. I'm pulling them out like weeds everywhere.
I've never heard of that anywhere.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
So the currawongs are adapting to them. That's what you could say in short. Just like they did to Camphloral, and then they got into trouble.
But they're native here. They don't have to. Well, these were in a dry place where they came from. Lila's brought up so much stuff from the mother place of those 2 months ago. They're clearing the house, and these are some of her orchid. And inside she's got a lot of boxes, stuff to sort, and dish out to the grandchildren and so on, the great-grandchildren yet. Over the mothers.
And after an El Nino event, do you know what happened last time in the El Nino?
Well, yeah.
Is it too long a dry then? Becomes too long, and they're
in dry summer, the trees are stressed, and it causes them to flower hard the following season. And if that season is dry, at the time of flowering, they're stressed again, so we better reproduce before we die. So they set seed all over, and they must put everything into the seed.
Assuming they're going to die.
Yeah, assuming they're going to die, and that's what happened last summer. Right. And like the Anarchy Beach, they were the same. They had massive amounts of seed. The brush box, the blue gums, the tallowood, rosewood, you name it, everything. The centric rosewoods, everything out there. The Sally Waddle even, you know, they were just loaded with seeds. And of course, when the rains come, that seed a lot of germinates. And
luck of the draw. 3 times lucky when the rain comes.
You've got to get that sequence right.
If it's 3 lucky draws for the rain, you've got to build a cumulative fecundity. Either a Rufum or Frosier.
Well, I only tried to grow the seed once, and I had no problem. Only Frosier, I wanted him to hold the Rufum. If I want any, and you can't sell them much these days, people don't want natives that don't flower. You know, they want to see flowers. They want a hydrangea, a rose, or some flower on it. We better get out of the way.
Okay, look.
Hop up there. I'll just turn this tap off.
Right up. But there was a glowworm came through, and there was only one of them. There's no other wildlife in 6 days.
And glowworm.
No other moths. Moths are in big trouble around the world.
Yeah.
All over the world. You look on the internet.
I didn't know that.
It's all on the internet. It's for Europe.
Well, I thought they were bad enough.
Especially in Britain. Britain's got most entomologists, and they study hard their entomology. And they're in huge trouble in Britain, as an example.
Butterflies have been in trouble for the last 20 years in Europe. They're virtually extinct. You never see a butterfly in Austria.
Right.
I can witness that.
I was there on Mount Boss when the wildflowers are at their peak, the 3rd week of September. Not one butterfly in 4 days. Not one butterfly in 4 days.
Plenty of them around here, all sorts.
They come out, well, you're a bit further west than the flight corridor. The flight corridors muck everything up. What comes out the back of planes, dirty caro, which is burnt, includes environmental narcotics. Slowed there.
That's first rain today, otherwise been drizzle.
Known by a Scotsman, published in Germany since 1901. All published in German and ignored by the English speakers. It's on the side with the council, and Kempsey became, by 1980, the only town in Australia to revere and respect the red cedar tree. Right? The only one that planted in the main streets. So he planted 117 trees.
Under this regrowth, I suppose.
See that one?
The labellum?
Oh, yes.
That is a modified petal.
Right.
Look what I can do with it.
Open it right up. Oh, yeah. Reflex it.
Yeah, reflex it, and it'll stay that way like a pansy.
Okay.
This is the only orchid, the soft cane dendrobium. I did that one a few weeks ago.
Oh, you did that one already. So they don't do that normally?
No.
It's
starting to go green. They're getting old.
Then it starts to look like another family of plants.
Yeah, like a phalaenopsis.
Right. problem you're talking about with rosewood would be less likely to happen again, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, it'll happen again.
But it might be another 5-8 years before it happens.
See, they need a rest time, like the orchids this year. Most of them had a big rest year. Even though it was dry the summer before, they had to have a rest because spring last year they had a huge flowering. People would say in winter, oh, it was a wet winter and wet spring. Oh, the orchids will flower good this year. No, they don't understand it. The trigger is the summer before. If it's hot and dry till middle of January or so, at least for that long, the dendrobiums, for instance, you know, the pingianum and so forth, beech orchids, wherever, further in the beech forest.
Find a good dentist, I'll go too.
Yeah, well, he's going to do implants.
All right.
Well, that's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
But the bone has to heal up in there. I'd have busted when I was at high school.
Oh, was it Tommy Hack or was it a rosewood?
Meanwhile,
it wasn't a rosewood tree.
You've been chewing them all off in the forest. That's what we know has been happening.
Yeah. Anyway, I had they sort of rotted out finally. But yeah, when I can get my credit back, you know, with Medibank, got a
the difference, yeah.
Oh yes, right. And the seeds that are.
Do you have any issues with done all that by 81?
Yeah.
That was an F1 selection.
Really?
Now off the best of those 117, we only collect seed off them and grow those, and we're finding the growth rates are commensurate with about approximately twice the growth rate recorded by forestry in the 1920s for red cedar.
But you're planting them on the alluvial plains of Hampshire?
Yeah, we're planting them in lots of places, in gullies and difficult spots as well, where there's no topsoil and we're still getting the same growth rate.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah.
And no tip moth, but that's another reason. That's not the same reason necessarily. We think these are genetically better, but we haven't proved that. So right? I haven't proved that.
The tip moth is really not striking these trees at all.
That's another issue. That's because of what's in the atmosphere now. I did a survey last year from Cairns to Bateman's Bay of red cedar near the highways, and the only place there's no red cedar in within 2 to 3 kilometres of the highway, the main Pacific Highway. Yeah. And where there's red cedars, of course, there's not everywhere. But the only tip moth that's observable in any red cedars, like at Kempsey, is one that's further west from the highway, the furthest west of the highway, and the closest you are to a big massif like Barrington or Dorrigo, downwind of those big places where there's a major set of canopies for protection of the moth. They can still get in there and build up and stay in the trees.
So you're saying that there's not much moth near the road systems?
Yeah, that's right.
Pollution, you think?
It's environmental narcotics. I've done the research to prove which compounds are doing the damage.
I thought it'd be the other way around.
Well, have you seen at night how many moths are coming to the lights at night?
Oh yeah, and beetles. There's a little Christmas beetle at the moment.
There's a few beetles around, but a lot at his place last night, a lot of beetles, but moths have collapsed. And that's why reptiles are in trouble. I was on Mount Boss, 5 days up there, planting red cedars. One moth came, on one warm night we had one moth, a medium-sized moth.
Bluish, those cedar moths, bluish colour.
I didn't clear it out. But the other, last night, 2 nights ago, on Mount Boss, one moth in 2 nights only, and he fell into a glass of wine. True, he was dead by the morning.